If you have a really low GPA, can you still go to college or should you just give up now? Watch this video and find out. In most YouTube videos and most success stories, you hear about the things that people did well. We hear about people who succeeded, people who broke out of certain situations that were impossible, and these are all inspiring stories. But often we don't hear about the people who were in difficult situations, and we don't really hear about what they went through in those times. And we certainly don't hear about very often about people in those situations at the moment. We always hear stories about, oh, after I succeeded, after I overcame that. But I understand that some of you, high school students, and maybe you're in college even, but your grades are really low and you're very discouraged. And you think that the world around you is crumbling. You're not going to make it to college. What will you ever do? Can you ever have a successful career? Or should you just give up? Should you just go, work at McDonald's? And nothing wrong with working at McDonald's, but that's not most people's dreams or aspirations in life. And so, what to do if your GPA is really low? Should you even have hope? Is there hope? Well, the short answer to that is you absolutely have hope, and you absolutely can go to college, and you absolutely can have a very successful career, a very happy life, no matter what it seems like in the moment right now. Your grades are low. You look around you, all your friends seem to be doing well. Everybody's succeeding. Everybody's getting high scores and high GPAs, and they don't seem to be struggling like you do. And they're excited about going to college. You're just intimidated. You're discouraged. You're scared. And you don't know exactly what to do. Let me tell you, you should have hope. Look, when I was in high school, I got by. I wasn't overly academically ambitious. I got by. And I've told this story many times to my students. But, my goal was to just maintain a 3.5. And I just tried to stay 3 point. I didn't try to go too high. I didn't try to get too low. I didn't want to get in trouble with my parents. I just tried to maintain a 3.5. And so I didn't have very good study habits in high school. When I went to college, I literally had to retake 3 classes. Now, when I tell students that I flunked out of 3 courses in college, people think, oh, you mean like you did really, you're exaggerating. You probably got like a B- or something. No, I literally flunked out of 3 classes. I literally did so bad that I had to retake those classes. I know how it feels to be in that situation, to be so discouraged, and to look around you and think, all these people, they seem to know what's going on. How come I don't know what's going on? What is it? Why don't I get it? Everybody around me seems to get it. How come they're getting 3.8s and I can barely get a 1.5? What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? That was the first year and a half or so of my college life. Now, there's other classes that I didn't have to retake. I didn't do so hot in those. I mean, I'm getting by a 2.7, 2.5. It was a terrible time. It was very, very difficult for me. But I know what it's like. I'm 50 years old right now. I still know what that feeling is like. And in the moment, now looking back in hindsight, it was all kind of funny and, it wasn't that big a deal. But back then, in that moment, I was very discouraged. In that moment, I worried if I could ever graduate. I wondered if I would ever have a successful career. I wondered if I could ever get a job and get paid like, my classmates who are doing so well. I had all these doubts in my head and I was discouraged. And so I want to talk to you. If you're one of those students, if you're one of those people and you're not performing as well as others, you're really struggling, you know what the expectations are of you. Your parents have high expectations, and on, and around you, everybody seems to be doing well. You feel the pressure. I know it's hard, but I want you to have hope. Take it from somebody who's flunked before, okay? Take it from somebody who struggled before. This is funny coming from me, perhaps because I do college prep now. I do SAT prep. I advise students and parents on the college prep process, and I do all this. And so people have this wrong idea that, man, if he's doing that, he probably got a perfect score on the SAT. He probably just glide. It just went through high school and college and did really well. Probably didn't have much struggles. He was probably academically very an overachiever. Nothing of the sort, trust me. I don't even try to hide this. I don't even try to pretend that I'm somebody different. I struggled, and I know what struggling is like. And in fact, I think that made me a better teacher because I understand struggle. I understand, but I also understand that with hard work and with hope and determination and optimism and the right kind of people and the right kind of mindset, you can achieve things that you never thought you could achieve. Somebody should have told me in high school and somebody should have told me in college that even if your grades aren't good, even if you seem to be very discouraged, you're not performing nearly half as well as the people around you, you can still outperform them. You can still be successful. You can still be great in your field. I didn't know that. I just thought that if I got bad grades in school, that would equate to a bad or poor or unsuccessful career. Now, I never gave up hope on myself, but I was very discouraged. If your grades are really low, I mean really, really low in high school, and you'll get to college, okay? If you really, really want to go to college, you'll go to college. This is America, and it's how it works. If you apply to colleges and nobody accepts you, worst case scenario, nobody accepts you. No four-year school accepts you. That's okay. You go to a community college, near your home, and you get your 2-year associate's degree there, and you just transfer to a 4-year school. You go to a 4-year school, 3rd year, 4th year, you graduate, you have a diploma, just like everyone else that graduated from that school. Your diploma won't have a little asterisk by it and said, oh, 2 years of community college. It will not say that. You'll just have graduated from that school. So no big deal, okay? There are roads. You just have to let go of your pride and your ego. It's not that big a deal. There are plenty of people and whom I've met who've gone to community college, sometimes for financial reasons. It's not that they couldn't get into 4-year. They could, and they did, but for financial reasons, they opted to go to a community college. But for you, let's say it's not a financial reason. You have the resources, your parents have the money, but your grades are so low that you didn't get into a 4-year. Now, my experience is most of you, even though you think your grades are really low, you can get into some 4-year school. There are many, 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 many schools in America, and there's like 2,200 or so 4-year schools. So there's plenty of schools. I think for the most part, you can get accepted somewhere. But even if you don't, you can go to community college and you can go to college, and then that won't hinder you a bit. That will not hinder your career. It won't hinder your opportunities. The most important thing that I can tell you is, regardless of your grades, regardless of what you think right now, regardless of the situation that you're in right now, the most important thing is to believe that you can do it, to understand, to never give up hope. You never, ever, ever, ever give up hope, okay? And you just one day at a time, you say, well, I did so bad in that class. I got a D in this class. I have to retake this class. I have to take summer school. Okay, that's okay. But don't give up. Keep going. Take the summer school. Average your grades. Keep going. You say, I didn't get into 4-year school. Okay, that's okay. Then go to community college and do your best and get a 4.0 there, or a 3.8 or a 3.5, whatever you get. And you get your associate's 2-year degree. You transfer to a 4-year school. When you get there, you do your best. You take it one step at a time. And when you get to that stage where you're about to graduate college, and you might say, yeah, but my grades weren't even that good in college. Neither were mine. I just told you my story, okay? But let me finish sort of how my career ended up. I did so poorly that I had no confidence that I could be an engineer. And so I went into sales and management. I kind of ran away from engineering because I said, nobody's going to hire me. If they did, they'd probably fire me in a short while because they find out how ignorant and how unknowledgeable I am. But so I went into sales, management, and recruiting. It turned out to be some of the most important skills that I ever learned in my career, because I did sales and I just never knew that was so important, but I was so glad that I did that. I applied to an engineering position at the Boeing company in Seattle, and thinking that nobody, they wouldn't hire me, but I'll just throw it in, see what happens. And oddly enough, they hired me. I got hired. And for the next 12 or 13 years of my career, to make a long story short, I was an engineer. I learned many, many things that were just so interesting to me. And, in 2001, I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. And I was asked to solve a problem in the DC government that they could not solve for decades, literally for about 30 years. And they asked me, and within a year and a half, I was able to solve that problem because I learned some things from very, very knowledgeable people when I was, an engineer earlier in my career. And to those people, I owe forever a debt of gratitude for the things they taught me. And I had many mentors like that. But I was just very humble because I didn't know anything. There's nothing that I could really show off about or put forward. I mean, hey, if you'll teach me, I'll work hard to learn it. And I just really had a student mentality, and I learned. And so that enabled me to learn some very important things. And oddly enough, in June of 2005, I was selected as one of 17 best in the business in North America in my field for what I was doing. And I always look back, and I got this magazine, framed on my wall behind me. But whenever I look at that, I'm a little bit amused because, when they chose me for that, it was a great honor, and I was so thankful and flattered. But I always knew inside me, man, I was that guy. I was that kid who flunked 3 classes in college, who thought I could never do it. So my message to students is always this. You might not think you can't do it, but you can, okay? You might think it's a huge deal right now, but trust me, in a few years, you'll look back and think, that wasn't that bad. And let me tell you, I was born here, I grew up here, went to the same school as you did, and I can empathize with that. And I can tell you, if you never give up, the only thing that will stop you, the only thing that will ensure your failure is yourself. It is not your grades, not the school you went to, it's nothing like that. The thing that will defeat you is if you give up. So you never give up. You never give up hope. You believe that it can work out if you work hard, okay? Regardless of your grades, regardless of your school name, doesn't matter about that. The road to success is not that. The road to success is grit. The road to success is hope and optimism, and knowing that if you try hard, if you work hard, you can do it. That's all I had. I didn't have knowledge. I didn't remember anything from college. I didn't have good grades. What did I have to help me be a successful engineer or a successful entrepreneur, and doing what I'm doing now? It wasn't anything special. I wasn't smarter than other people. I wasn't more educated than other people. I didn't have better grades than other people, but I did believe in myself. I never gave up. I never gave hope. I was humble. I had a student mindset and really just learned. If somebody knew something that I didn't know, and I wanted to learn that, and I needed to learn it, I just humbly asked them, and I worked my butt off to really learn it and master those skills. And if you keep doing that, you can have a very, very bright, successful, happy future. So I hope that my story is gives you a little bit of hope. And if you're in that moment of discouragement, I hope you'll never give up. And I hope that you will continue to strive. And even though you're not getting the results that you think you need or you want right now, it's okay. It's okay. It's a long game. It's a marathon, my friend. So you keep going, keep working hard, and you too can be successful, okay? So I just wanted to give you some words of encouragement. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.